Reset. Go. All right, you got a pocket or a belt?
I've got an inside pocket.
Perfect.
I guess that's probably the easiest.
Certainly. And run this. We can just leave it in the jacket, probably.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Tuck that in. You good?
I mean, yeah. Do it sound okay? Testing 1, 2, testing.
Perfect.
Cool. Can I get started?
We're trying to start everyone at 5 after now.
Oh, okay.
Just because.
Put one more commercial break in.
Yeah, because we're going to be getting everyone ready for having, if you have like an extended setup, extended breakdown. It's easier, I think. Is that cool with you?
I think you should end 5 minutes early.
It does. It starts 5 minutes late and ends 5 minutes early. That way we can do turnaround.
10 minutes. Got it. Okay. Well, I think it will should end 10 minutes early. I think it should start on the hour.
You want to start on the hour?
I think that's better.
The problem is we're going to have to be getting people out and then getting you in. Like tonight, I
Oh,
ended
right.
a
You need
quarter-
the double.
I
You
ended
need
a quarter of
5
an
minutes
hour.
on each side. 5 minutes on each side.
But like
Gotcha.
tomorrow we have real.
Got
coming in.
it.
Tonight
So
was
you
just me.
got it.
Let's
So it's
get you
50
guys into it.
total now.
50 total, yeah.
Okay.
But you can choose if you want the 10 minutes, the bookends, to be something specific.
Oh,
Let's do
okay.
that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you have like a pre-roll that you want to do, we can do that for you.
Okay.
Hey guys, hey, your levels real quick.
Hello.
You have to talk into it.
Okay.
Go. You go. Thank you.
I guess the show starts at 10:05 now.
Oh, we've got plenty of time.
Oh, I know. We have so much time. I could have eaten 2 more pancakes.
3.
Me too. It's the realism here.
Well, your music's done again.
You died again? Hell.
Not living.
Oh, is it living? No, it's quite calm.
Very disorienting tonight. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 10:05 showing of There's a Place. I am Adam Papagan, and welcome to the show. I'd like to start off tonight by wishing everyone a happy Lent. Lent is beginning today. It's for those of you who don't know, who maybe aren't familiar with Catholic customs, Lent is the 40 days before Easter, and it starts with Ash Wednesday. And if you maybe saw out today when you're out and about, a lot of people had crucifixes made in ashes on their forehead. It's sort of like the Catholic "I voted" sticker. It's a way to show that you're ready for the Lent season. But the whole idea of Lent is that you give, well, two things. First of all, no meat on Fridays, only fish, because Jesus was a fisherman. And that's why, if you notice, every fast food restaurant around the weeks leading up to Easter, on Fridays they have a fish sandwich they introduced. It's usually on special. I think this year the fillet of fish at McDonald's is $1.79. It's usually $1.59. But this year it's $1.79 in honor of Lent. But you eat fish on Friday, you give up meat on Fridays, but for the whole 40 days, what you try to do is give up something. And I feel like a lot of people misinterpret this because it's almost always food or drink related. So I'm not going to drink so much, or I'm not going to have coffee, or I'm not going to eat sweet food. And no one ever decides to work on themselves. It's not like a New Year's resolution where you say, oh, for the next 40 days I'm going to exercise, or I actually thought it would be a good one. My real Lent choice this year is soda. I drink too much of it. It's so good though. And I don't even care. I think I'm going to go back to it after the 40 days. I have no reason to quit the soda. I like the way it tastes. I like the sugar and the caffeine. But I think a better one would be pride. Like the sin of pride, the sin of joy, like giving up something like that. Really get down to it. I think that maybe might be the point of Lent more. But I wish you good luck going forward for the next 40 days here in your Lenten quest. The other night, I was at the Cine Family. It's a great kind of independent alternative movie theater out here in Los Angeles. And I saw a program by a woman named the Space Lady. And basically, she's a street entertainer from San Francisco, and she plays a synthesizer, and she's got a little drum machine, and she's just kind of weird. She sings songs about outer space, almost always covers. And I'm a big, if anyone who knows me or my work knows that I'm a big fan of outsider music. But before I went to go see the Space Lady, I was a little skeptical, I'll be honest, because she wears like a winged helmet, and she's got like a light show, so she seems kind of too aware to really be an outsider musician. But watching her on the stage, it became clear to me that she had no choice but to be the Space Lady. She really could not help it. She had to sing these songs, and she had to kind of make a fool of herself. And that really, to me, sums up the difference between a true artist and someone who just has an interest in it, or like art is their career. Is like the Space Lady, Wesley Willis, Michelangelo, people like that. They had no choice but to just make this art, no matter how weird it is. And the alternative is, bad art is like, which I also really like, is like you kind of think about like, oh, well, you could have just not done this. That's an alternative. And this is going to seem like a weird segue, but my guest tonight is someone who is he's a musician. He's in the band High Functioning Flesh, and he is someone who, real cool guy, as you'll see, but he understands this need for true art, and he really, I think, appreciates things for their value. And I'm looking forward to talking to him tonight. So without further ado, please welcome my guest tonight, Greg Vond. Hey, Greg.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Welcome to the mall here.
Oh yeah, what a nice location.
Do you know which mall this is? I ask all my guests.
I'm not sure.
Little Tokyo Mall.
It is. You're right.
Home of Max Karaoke.
And
the arcade with the typing Dawn of the Dead game.
That place is really scary. That's like the big one on the top floor where there's the bowling and the adult arcade and the foosball in the bar. I went there once to my friend's birthday party, and they had a subwoofer hooked up at the bowling so loud that nobody could talk to each other, and we were given the lanes just right next to the subwoofer, and I unplugged the subwoofer, and nobody noticed, and it remained unplugged the rest of the time we were there.
Oh, that's good that you were able to take control, make it better. What is it? It seems like a few weeks ago we were talking about this after my, I wouldn't say ill-fated, but my eventful birthday party at the bowling alley in Eagle Rock. But it seems that there's something about a bowling alley that's just sort of crummy. It's kind of inherently crummy.
Yeah, it's weird when you go to like an upscale nice one like that because it feels so wrong. Like
It's still crummy.
they're playing music that's not 30 years out of date. The carpet is new. You know, I feel like it needs to feel at least 30 years old and run down in that way to be a proper bowling alley.
But that is kind of crummy too, as it's like, oh man, this place is so old, it's so run down. But then you go to the newer place. Maybe bowling is just not fun.
No, bowling is so much fun.
Is it fun?
I love bowling. Have you ever been to Lynbrook Lanes in Brookhurst or off Brookhurst in Orange County?
No.
This is the greatest place. It's a 24-hour bowling alley.
Okay.
That is lovingly nicknamed Tweak and Bowl by many people, and it's got this great old like Orange County Boulevard drag light up bowling pin display on the street.
Where it's kind of like falling over.
Yeah, that like still mostly works most of the time, and like all the lanes are broken. They're not kept upright. Like I once got 5 strikes in a row, but that was only because the thing wouldn't go down until I knocked down all the pins. So it was like, you know, my highest scoring game was like 280 or
That's
something.
pretty good.
But it was like mostly cheating, but no one really knew. So
Well, you know, in tennis, it's not, or football, it's not cheating if the field is, you know, more moist or easier to run on or something like that. So I would say you were just playing to the conditions
yeah.
of the arena.
Well, I
the
didn't feel
stadium.
bad about it, but I definitely feel okay about it, thinking of it that way.
You know, it's a very crummy bowling alley. This is really a guarantee that bowling alleys are crummy. Have you ever been to Reno?
Reno, Nevada?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Okay, well, you know it's in downtown, right?
Yeah.
The bowling center. They've got like a big fake bowling. Have you ever seen it?
You know,
Do you know what I'm talking about? It's in the movie Kingpins.
I've seen that movie, but I guess in my times in Reno, I've always been so busy swimming or smoking inside that I never took the time to visit the bowling alley, which now that I'm realizing is there, I regret.
It's down in the main, like the only part of Reno, by the sign, you know, and it's like the Reno Convention Center / American Federation of Bowling, like whatever the major leagues of bowling is, official stadium for the championships, except part of the deal when they built it, they only have the championship there once every 3 years. So they don't even always have it there. You know, they got to give other people
Yeah.
chances of bowling, but they spend all the money. But they're supposed to have 100 lanes, you know, it's supposed to be real nice. But they forgot to put a walkway to get to the lanes, so there's only 98. They had to remove 2 lanes in
was
the
room
middle, so
to-
there'd be like a little, so it'd be room to walk to all of them in between.
That's
Like,
not-
how did they get that far?
Yeah, I mean, you'd think that'd be the first problem you would solve when you're designing and laying out unless they just sort of like
Have you-
100 lanes and built one at a
Well,
time.
have you ever been to a bowling alley where every lane was filled?
No, I don't think so.
It was just 4 or 5 max.
Have you been? What are those ones? Have you been to those ones? They're called like Strike Zone or something. And
Lucky Strike. Is it cigarette themed? Is there any connection between?
I don't know. I think they make their lanes shorter, so you're more likely to have like high playing games, and maybe that
To make it more fun.
Maybe that's why it's called Lucky Strike.
I think it's easier.
You know, because you're lucky, because you're getting them easier. You're having a great time.
Oh wow, it's like the miniature golf of bowling.
Yeah. I think I was actually there. My stepdad took me there once, and I think all the lanes were full, but I think there was only like 8 lanes. It wasn't a terribly enormous space.
Also, a newer place like that is roped in with like appetizers and loud music, and like it's a little more hip. You know, it's more of a destination.
Yeah.
So there's that one in Hollywood and Highland.
I haven't been to that one, thankfully, but I mean, going over there it just scares me.
You don't like Hollywood?
No.
What don't you like about it? I think it's the greatest place in the world.
It's so, I mean, theoretically, it's a lot of fun to me. Like, just all the weird people that like go there to make it and end up doing these other kind of weird jobs that they have to do to get by, or like you go into like you walk by the window of like a place that develops headshots, and you see all the headshots of like it's I don't know, that's so weird. And then all of the tourists, and then it just all kind of slams together in this one place.
Yeah, it's really wonderful.
It's really, I really like that, but it also terrifies me to be there in the middle of it. But it's, I don't know.
I find it really exciting. I always, any excuse to go to Hollywood, I do, just to walk around. A lot of times when I'm doing a new project, I'm starting something, I'll kind of like start on Hollywood Boulevard. I'll go take a walk, or I'll think about things, or like we film stuff at the Chinese theater. You can just go to Hollywood and film things. It's like such a vibrant place with all these people to talk to, and nobody hassles you, and they got like the fake Supermen and stuff like that. But I find it very, it's sort of like Las Vegas, and that like, when I was a kid, I think a lot of little kids like Las Vegas because it's so obvious what's going on. Like, these are lights, this is a pirate ship theme, like this is gambling, these are prostitutes, like it's so easy to figure out what it's all about. There's nothing hidden or anything like that. And Hollywood is kind of like that. It's like the physical manifestation of this abstract concept of Hollywood, except it literally is Hollywood. There's this blurring between the idea of it and the actual thing, but that is what Hollywood is itself.
Yeah. Maybe I just need to go for some walks there more and appreciate it a little bit.
Have you ever been to the Chinese theater and seen all the handprints?
Yeah.
It's so cool. There's 3 horses.
There's horse prints there?
3 of them.
Oh. I need to pay some more attention, I guess. Most of the time I've spent up there was when that venue, the Knitting Factory, was still right there.
Loved the Knitting Factory.
Yeah. It would always get really weird afterwards. Like, you'd get when I was like 18 or 19 going there, and I'd go to a punk show or something, and then there'd be a bunch of drunk punks that get let out, and they're all just like down Hollywood Boulevard all of a sudden. It was always pretty fun.
What shows did you see at the Knitting Factory?
One of my favorites was when I went to go see the Seeds.
I saw them there, but I know they played there a couple times. Do you remember when you saw them there?
I don't remember.
It was in 2007, I think.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
They played in the big, like the room on the right, because there was the 3 rooms there. There's like the tiny one in the middle.
Like
and
the
then
Blue Beat Lounge.
Yeah. And then the long one, and then there was like the bigger one. And I just remember we saw...
They did 2 sets. Was it that show?
No, I think they only did one when I saw them.
Okay, because maybe it was the same when I'm confusing it, but they were like, we're going to take a break.
Yes, they did do
and
that.
be right back for a second set. And I'd never heard of a band doing a second set before.
I guess I didn't really think of it as 2 sets. I thought they were just
No, it was like a band
and
doing the
needed a break.
past.
Yeah. It was great. Did you notice while they were playing, Sky Saxon was eating lifesavers the entire time? I thought that was really weird.
It was really spacey.
I was wondering what was up with his lifesavers. And we saw him before. There's that big, there used to be that big shoe store right next door.
Yes.
We saw him before, and he was buying like some really big, like women's shoes for himself. He was like trying them on, and we were like watching him through the window, just kind of in awe. Actually, that's weird mentioning Sky Saxon. I had a friend named Bo who lived in Long Beach, and I think he went to Paris for like a couple of months for some reason. And while he was gone, his friends had somehow befriended Sky Saxon, and he needed a place to stay. So they let him stay in my friend's room for a couple of weeks before he got back. And they said like he never left the room really. Like he'd just go to score drugs or like pick up a girl or something. But he like acting like a crummy 20-year-old, but as like a crummy 60-something-year-old. Just seemed really weird, and he just slept in my friend's bed. I don't know.
That's cool. I feel like there's hardly any, you hear the stories about LA in the 60s and like, oh, Sunset Strip was crazy, there were kids everywhere. I feel like there's not very many people from that era left who are still living it. Not like you see like a rock and roll person or something like that.
Yeah, like...
Because Ronnie Bingenheimer like still lives it to the hilt. But I don't know, I just would expect to see like, you think that you would see like Pamela DeBarnes around, you know what I mean? Or like Frank Zappa's dead, and like the Byrds, they don't live here anymore, and Arthur Lee is gone, Kim Fowley, and
yeah,
it was so LA and so
it's weird how
real low quality stuff.
I guess that
Not
was.
Zappa, but-
I mean that is even longer ago than like some of like the glam rock things that are still. You can still go into like one of the guitar shops there, and a guy with a ponytail is going to show you how good he can shred on his Jackson for 20
Exactly.
minutes if you want. But like, yeah, I guess none of the stuff before that really still hangs around.
Probably all the drugs is what did it.
Yeah.
Because punk stuff is still very much around, like, the
Yeah.
point where it's like kind of
It's weird.
makes us question why we're into any of this stuff. But that was only 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So maybe what was 20 years ago? Like the early 90s?
Yeah.
There was more 60s stuff around. There's like the Paisley Underground.
Yeah, like
There's
the
revival.
revival and
I guess
stuff.
they're all just dead now.
There's a really cool video you can watch on YouTube. I think a friend of mine who was like an old punk who I'd somehow befriended when I was about 20. He actually passed away. His name was Bill Bartell. He was a really interesting character. He played in a band called White Flag, who I don't think anyone really knows about, but
I remember seeing them in like CD racks.
Yeah.
Like punk record stores as a kid.
they were pretty funny. They were like kind of just like a prankster band. They would make T-shirts that would like the ink wasn't set, so when you wash it, it would ruin all your clothes, and like they do things like that. But there's this really funny video where Bill Bartell is walking around with Jeff and Steve McDonnell and I think like Thurston Moore or something like that, and from like the early 90s, and they track down in Hollywood like this guitar shop that's selling one of the McDonnell brothers guitars that was stolen from him in like 1980 or something, and then there's just this whole great exchange, and the guy threatens to call the cops, and my friend Bill just like puffs up his chest. He's like, "I am the law," or something. It's I don't know. I'm not telling the story as funny as the video is, of course, but
Well, you probably are you from Huntington Beach? You're from
no.
Orange County.
I actually grew up in Irvine.
Oh, okay. So you don't have any punk cred by way of your
definitely
your
not.
birthplace.
Definitely
right?
not. No.
Because Huntington Beach is what makes Huntington Beach such a hot spot for music? I mean, really only two times. Well, I think there's some surf stuff from back in the day, but you did the whole punk thing, and then kind of where I more am at ska. Also
Was
from
Calvin
Huntington
big in
Beach.
Huntington Beach?
The Aquabats and Real Big Fish and like a lot of those bands.
That's right,
They went
they
to
were.
Huntington Beach High. They're all
Yeah.
friends.
Okay.
Is it just the proximity to Los Angeles?
It might be the proximity
It
to
must be.
But then there's like, I don't know, it's sort of like a massive, weird beach suburb. There's a lot of
People there.
people.
But I think the proximity to LA makes it not improbable that like your high school band with a bunch of horns in it, or you dress up like superheroes, could become popular. It's like, oh, people in LA do it all the time.
I don't know.
It is a weird place though.
Yeah. Well, there's the infamous punk dance move, the HB strut.
Yeah, which one is that?
That's like the
circle jerks one?
Yeah.
Where he's like going like kind of,
That
you
kind
kind
of
of go like
thing,
this?
yeah.
That's the Huntington Beach strut.
I mean, someone might want to correct me on that, but that's at least what. But I'm not from Huntington Beach.
When you kind of like go through the pit like
Yeah,
this.
but it's like the
Okay.
violent
Yeah.
hardcore guy move, I think.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, what else? I don't really know. That's such a good question. I mean, they had the venue there too. They had,
Peace. No.
I don't know. I'm not great at recalling the history of
Trivial
things
details
on the
of
spot.
this weird little town.
Yeah.
But yeah, Huntington Beach is real. It's the surf city. The song is about it. The Jan and Dean song.
Yeah.
Surf City. 2 girls for every guy.
Oh.
They had
And then
rubies on the pier.
They had the HB surf riot, and like, was that in the 70s or the early 80s?
There was that. That was in the early 80s.
And then there was like the
recent
revival
riot, yeah.
one, which wasn't quite as much of a riot. I don't
it
think.
didn't attract quite the media frenzy.
But the first one, there's pictures and there's like flipped over burning cop cars, and like the one that just happened was like a couple of guys like trying to pull a stop sign over. I think was like.
It's weird that much angst, or maybe it's inevitable, maybe it's not weird at all, but that much angst could be generated from like, yo, this is paradise where you live. Like, it's right by the beach, you have this nice house.
Yeah.
Like, what are you so mad about?
I mean, you could go there.
Why are you playing your guitar so fast, man?
I mean, that might have something to do with it. It's
You hate your surroundings so much.
it's just too nice. It's too nice of a place to be a teenager, maybe. I mean, Irvine certainly was.
Yeah, tell me about Irvine.
Oh, I don't know. What,
All I really know about it is the college.
the college? Yeah.
But that seems like they built that like a year ago. Like it seems real newish.
Well, the whole city is. I mean,
What's it called? The City Terrace? It's
The-
like the street?
like like it was mostly farms, I think, up until like even in the
Orange
early
groves and
90s.
stuff. Really,
Like-
that recently?
Like even when I was growing up there, I think I moved there with my family when I was like 6, and we like our house was like on the edge of like the tracks, and like across this like street there was orange groves, and then behind that was avocado groves. It was kind of cool growing up there when I did, because I was like right on the edge in this neighborhood called Northwood, and it was gradually getting developed as I was there, but coming of age between like, being like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I had access to construction sites and half-built houses and like sewers that weren't finished being built. So we just had
Just go exploring.
We could just go exploring, and we'd steal wood and make tree houses and all that like kind of stuff you associate with being that age, I guess.
Was it a suburban vibe where you had a bunch of friends in your neighborhood? And like,
Oh yeah, it was crazy. It was like, I think my street I grew up on, there was like 5 other kids in my grade or something like that.
that sounds fun. I never, from LA, so I never,
Yeah,
just immigrants everywhere.
it was fun, but once I got to high school, it got kind of boring and frustrating.
Was your high school experience more of like a jock, nerd, like kind of how you'd see on TV where people got bullied and people didn't fit in? Like our high school's like that. My high school wasn't like that at all.
No, it wasn't. It was
Everyone got along at my high school.
It was a pretty mellow place. I mean, I didn't really have a lot of friends that went to my high school. Like most of the people I had common interests with went to like other high schools. But I don't know. It was fine. I never got like beat up for wearing creepers or something like that.
Did you wear creepers?
Oh yeah. I loved
How? You loved it. Oh yeah, loved them. the TUK ones, right?
Oh, yeah, of
The-
course.
the
Those
good
were the best ones.
Yeah.
You wouldn't
Oh,
wear the other ones.
No.
But really, the quality of those was just as bad. They would sometimes you'd have them for a week, and then the whole sole would flop off, and that was it.
They
for
would
'em.
start like wearing. I had one pair. I had some white ones. You know the white ones with the big black.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was already tall for my age, so it just didn't. It was weird, but
I remember the first time I was wearing them, I like couldn't figure out how to walk. I tripped and like skinned my knuckles really bad. And it was
Which
really
ones were
embarrassing.
they?
I had, I don't know.
Let's go through all the different types. There's the blue suede ones.
I
with
always
like the
wanted
checkered
those,
pattern.
but they were a little too extreme for me. I think the blue suede ones.
They were very Slim Jim Phantom.
Yeah.
They were very Orange County. Then there was the ones that was sort of like they're kind of like wing tipped. That's
Yeah.
probably the one you had.
I had the wingtip ones with the buckles.
Yes.
Yeah, those were my favorites. I think I had maybe 3 pairs of those before I gave up on them.
You just keep buying them again and
Yeah,
again.
I bought the same pair like probably 3 times.
Over what stretch of time were you wearing creepers?
I'd say like 15 to about 17.
Oh, 2 years. That's not that long. But it's pretty old to be wearing.
Hey,
Maybe. I don't know.
maybe I was a slow developer, okay? I grew up in a very safe, comfortable area.
Yeah.
I had time to explore construction sites and things like this.
Yeah, don't you get the steel reinforced creepers for the construction sites, you know.
I think that was pre-creeper. I think that was still like van skateboard shoes.
Did you ever have bondage pants?
No.
I wanted some so bad.
I did
Well,
too.
for like a little bit, not forever, but like the first time I saw them, I wanted
Yeah,
them.
they looked so great. They had zippers and they were all colorful. But my mom would have never let me
Expensive too.
get out. Oh yeah.
That was kind of one of my first first time I really saw like one of the chinks in the armor of punk when I was like, wait a minute, if you're all against every money and the government and stuff, how come these pants cost $70? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. You went to the mall to buy them, didn't
Yeah, it was kind of like, wait, so maybe and then I would like, then people are like, no, real punks are street punks. Like that's what I heard, but they're like, well, how can they listen to records if they're living on the street? How are they going to listen to CDs? So I was like, well, they must really not like the music either.
There's, I used to go out to the Showcase Theater, which was in Corona. And we drive out there to see shows because it was like a little bit closer to us than LA. And I don't know, my parents were a little strict with me. And I think that they thought it was closer than LA. So that's why I was allowed to go, but it was really like the same distance. Anyway, there's these two kids that every weekend there's a show there. Their parents would drop them off with like sleeping bags and weekend supplies, and like they'd pretend to be like squatters for the weekend. And then their parents would pick them up on Sunday, take them back home, and they go back to school.
That's very irresponsible.
Yeah, it was pretty weird.
Spend one night on the street for fun.
For street cred, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's so, God, why would you, like, at that point, why even pick them back up? You care about your kids enough to pick them up and buy them the sleeping bags.
Why is that even, why is that cool? That's, I don't know.
It gives you, I don't know, kind of like a...
Even at the time, it was like, I thought that was so unbelievably silly. But I'm sure most people did.
I don't know, there's something to be said for like wanting, even if it is kind of shallow, wanting an experience, like a really harsh experience.
Yeah.
Like one time, this past summer, a friend of mine is an anthropologist. Like he's going to grad school. He's like gonna be an anthropologist. And so I was talking about bum wine. We've talked about bum wine before. You know how I feel about it.
Yes.
I love it. I think it's great. But the reason I love it is because it's made for bums. It's made for homeless people. So I was like, Max, you know what would be a really cool anthropological thing to do? You know, for science? Be like, we should get bum wine and go to the park and drink it during the day, just like a real bum would do. And he's like, well, if it's for science. So yeah, we each just cleared out a bottle of Thunderbird.
Did you go with the
Thunderbird and the big one.
Okay.
First we did a big bottle of nitrate. And then we finished that, and I was like, it was like real like bum stuff. Like we finished that, we were having a great time. It was like 4:15. It was like hot. We were in the park, just like sitting, like drinking the wine. And then we were out of it, and I was like, hey man, how much money do you got? How much money do you have left? There's a liquor store like not that far. We get another bottle of this for like $6. Let's go, man. So then we just like walked, just like a bum would, across along the LA River, and like we got the other bottle of it. And we were drinking it out of the paper bag, just like on Glendale Boulevard, just having fun. But like, it was a real, like, I felt like I was gonna see a pink elephant. Like I was having a real experience. Do you ever do anything like that? Where you just kind of jump into something that's maybe out of your comfort zone?
Oh, geez.
Either intentionally or unintentionally, and then you kind of have to like go with it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm stuck on the Thunder wine right now.
Let's talk about some Thunderbird then.
Oh God. When you were doing that, was there any point where you just started to feel sort of destitute? Like, I'm stuck outside just drinking this all day?
We eventually went back to my house. Like once the sun went down, we did have a house to go to.
Okay.
But we were like, I felt like a Greek, you know how they would like drink wine and like talk about nonsense? I felt like that. Like there's a kind of like high you can get from drinking wine.
Yeah.
It's different than other alcohol. It's like the bum wine hits you real nice and slow. And so I was feeling good, and then until I started feeling bad. And we were watching the movie Street Trash, and it was a movie about bum wine. And like I felt like I was gonna turn into the goo in the movie.
Yeah.
And then the next day, oh my gosh, I felt that was maybe the worst I ever felt. Friend did it all for no reason. Just, you know.
I went through a very brief period of time when I thought it was a good idea to drink bum wine.
It kind of is a great idea.
Well, yeah, it was, so cheap. I didn't have to spend very much money, and then
Lasts all day.
Yeah,
Just
but
drink it all day.
it was always so much trouble, and there was always so many bad feelings afterwards that it stopped. The deals, the pros and cons stopped outweighing them, or evening themselves out, I should say.
Which bum wines did you try?
I was mostly a fan of the Thunderbird.
The white.
Yeah, that's the citrus flavor, I believe.
Yes.
And the other flavor, the nitrate, is that cherry or strawberry?
Grape.
Something like that. I know there's a few combinations people have told me about where you get Kool-Aid and you mix them with Kool-Aid, but I never went that far. It was just seemed like it was always going to be disgusting no matter what, and I'm sure it is.
That's good times. So after your time in Irvine and Orange County, where'd you go after that? Long Beach?
Yeah, I lived in Orange for a few years, and I went to school. I went to school there
Where'd you go to school?
at Chapman University.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was a literature major.
In Old Town Orange.
Oh yeah, that was
Cute
weird.
area.
That was a very weird place to live, because it was a really, it's a really nice area, and in the daytime there's a lot of restaurants and antique stores and these sorts of things, and they film movies there, and it's very pretty. But then at night in that area, it's like the college and everyone that lives right around the circle. It's like all condensed right there, and there's like 3 bars there, and it just erupts into like this disgusting mayhem, like after this, maybe 10:30 at night or something. And I used to work, when I lived there, I used to work a night job making gelato in the circle. And I'd go out, I'd get out of work at 2, just as all the bars were letting out, or you would just see the ugliest, weirdest things, just fights and people vomiting. And one time I saw someone try to fight a cop, and then I was actually just telling someone about this the other day, because it was really bizarre. I lived for a time, there was this one street called Lemon Street, which was the street most of the apartments were off of, and my apartment was almost the very first apartment along the stretch of all the apartments. My bedroom window was right on the sidewalk, and I was home sitting with my cat watching The Simpsons. I'd spent the night in working on a paper or something, and this woman just out of nowhere just fell through my bedroom window.
I wish that would happen to me.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't pleasant. She was much older, well into middle aged, hanging out with some college guys. It was 2 guys walking her home. It looked pretty scummy in itself, and she was wearing a sequin halter top and jean shorts. It just all looked really bad. And so I got up, and it scared the crap out of me, obviously. And I got up and I ran outside, and I looked at the guys, and they just kind of shrugged at me and kind of just pulled off and left me there with her. And I was like, hey, you just broke my window. And she was she started calling me little man for some reason. I was like, I don't want to fight with you. You broke my window. Can you just give me $30 and I'll go and I'll replace it tomorrow. It's not that big of a deal. And then she just sort of like a fake out on me, and then just took off. And so I ended up chasing this woman with no shoes and no shirt and some jean shorts, a couple of blocks before I finally caught up with her. And then she pulled out a mace. I was threatening to mace me, and I was no, I'm not. Please just give me some money to fix my window. It's not a big deal. And then she just said, hold on a second, and she squatted down and just peed right there in front of me on the sidewalk. And it was just, and at this time she'd made so much of a scene, all the neighbors in the neighborhood around us were looking at us out their doors and windows, and someone had called the cops, and she invented this elaborate story about how these 2 guys were trying to rape her in front of my apartment, which couldn't have been the case, because it was it's just the sidewalk. It was just this, she just made up this whole crazy story that didn't make sense. And then, the reason she fell through my window was because she was trying to get me to save her from them. And then the cops just eventually got her to give me $20, and I think they drove her home, and that was it.
$20.
Yeah.
Did they kind of mediate the situation?
Yeah, they were what do you want to do about this? I was she's drunk. I don't care. Can you just see if she can give me some money to fix my window so I don't have to tell my landlord? But yeah.
And this was typical of Orange,
Pretty typical.
The college scene?
That actually wasn't the only time a window in that apartment had been broken. There were 2 other times. It was a weird place to live. But yeah.
It's right there on the surface.
Then I moved there from Long Beach, and then where I think my house was broken into 3 separate occasions. Never got anything important, but
It's probably the same people.
It might have been.
They knew how easy it was.
Like they found like some cat, like a bag of catnip. You know, I have two cats, and like they had dumped out like my recycling on the ground, and like put all the stuff that they took, which was like, I think like a broken computer, and like $20, and then I think that might have been it. But they like pushed open the bathroom window, and I came home, and like all the drawers were open and all this. And like after we kind of cleaned everything up, I found Josie and I found like just this like bag of catnip. Like whoever had pulled it was like, oh hell yeah, like I got some weed too. Like what a score in here. And then I don't know.
It was just the cat.
That's weird. Have you ever had someone break into your house like that?
No, never.
It's the weirdest.
It must be so unsettling.
It's so weird to like how violated you feel, because like
It's your personal space.
yeah, I don't know. I got like really paranoid about it for a while. Like I'd be like driving home looking for parking or something, and just be thinking like, oh no, like that guy, they're gonna be there again. Like I'm gonna walk in and someone's gonna be there, and it would either be like the terror fantasy of like them clubbing me with a blunt object, or like the weird hero fantasy of like I'm gonna catch them and I'm gonna get them this time. I know it's gonna happen, but.
You see the kind of post-traumatic stress from it.
I guess that's what that was, huh?
Yeah, that's what that is.
I don't know. It's always funny when you imagine yourself in like saving the day situation, because I don't think most people would be that effective in like a physical confrontation or something. Like they think that like the way I'd imagine my behavior and like what I would actually do is, I don't know. It's kind of funny that we, I don't know. Maybe it's just me that tends to think like I could, you know, I don't know.
I could take him.
But no, I definitely could.
This is what I would do in that situation. My fantasy is that nothing will happen. That's always what I think.
That's
like,
even better.
Man, wouldn't it be awesome if I got into this situation, but then everything was fine? Nothing good or bad happened? I could just go on living my life.
That seems much safer. I'm going to start trying to think that possibility from now on.
Yeah, what if I could just make it to tomorrow? That's my fantasy. Are you doing anything? Are you giving anything up for Lent? I encourage everyone to do it.
For Lent?
Yeah, it's only 40 days.
I hadn't really thought of it. My coworker was talking to me about it. He was kind of talking along the terms of what you were saying earlier. I think he gave up smoking.
It's food, it's
He
stuff
gave
going
up-
in and out of your
he
body.
gave up pork. I think he said he gave up drinking. He gave up.
This guy's got a lot of problems.
Hey, I mean, this is a coworker of mine. This morning he showed me a picture of him getting a massage. It was disgusting. It wasn't a sexual massage necessarily, but it was.
The massage is a little sexual.
It was definitely. I think that was, but it was. It didn't look like he was laying in a massage bed.
Maybe the sexual part was him showing it to you.
It's even worse.
That was the
that
whole
makes all
thing.
my imagination about like.
Yeah, I'm gonna get this massage, and then I'm gonna take a picture of it.
And I'm going to show.
Then
my
I'm gonna
coworker
show it to a
Greg,
guy I work with.
because I know it'll really
that's
bum him
hot.
out.
That is hot.
Another time, the same guy, he was like, "Hey, Greg, come here." So I did, and he like pulls up his phone, and he like pulls up a picture of like a woman in lingerie, like doing like a sexy pose, and he's like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "I don't know, man. Like, I don't really care. Like, why are you showing me this?" He's like, "You don't think this is hot?" And I was like, "No, not really." And he like, he zooms in real close and shows me. He's like, "Come on." And I was like, "No, I don't care." And then he just and like looked up at me. And I was,
Yeah, he definitely is a exhibition type.
I don't
He
know.
wants to get you in on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I want to explain like what sexual harassment is to him, but I don't think it would do me any good. I think it would just.
Hey, what are you, gay or something?
Well, see, that's the thing, is where I work, almost every single one of my coworkers speaks Spanish except for me, my coworker Chris, and I was really hoping working this job that I would pick up a lot of Spanish and like, be able to speak some Spanish besides what I learned in like basic high school classes or something, and I've pretty much only learned slang in a lot of different ways to accuse someone of being gay or any sexual situation around that you could imagine.
It's a macho type culture.
Oh yeah, and they'll call me names like I've worked there for 2 years. They'll call me names, like thinking, thinking that I don't know what they're saying to me yet. But it's like, come on, guys, like we've been sitting next to each other for 2 years now. Like I know what that means. I know the tone of voice, and I can tell the way you're laughing. Like, I don't know. It's a very weird place to work.
How many people do you work with?
In the back.
Like guys like this.
In the back,
It's
probably
like you and Chris and this guy and like how many others?
like 4.
So it's a pretty big team.
Yeah, there's like there's about 8 of us back there.
And are Chris the only 2 of the 8 like you guys?
Well, there's me and Chris, and then there's this guy Hector who's a very strict Mormon. So I think he's more shocked. He's probably more traumatized by anything than Chris or I. But one time I heard them refer to him as a church.
Like this guy.
Like, don't say this around Hector. He's a church.
I like that as a put down.
Yeah, it's kind of mean. He's a nice guy.
Yeah. It's kind of like the opposite of a backhanded compliment. It's like a front-handed insult.
A front-handed, yeah.
Right?
That's definitely what that is.
But backhand and fronthand is one of those things where it's like opposite, but they're both bad. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They both mean
Neither of them are.
they slapped at you. Which would you rather get backhanded or front-handed?
I think front-handed.
It's more.
seems
It's
a
more
little-
personal.
Yeah.
It's more affectionate.
You have to, I think you have to know a little bit more about the person to give them a front-handed.
A slap is just like I love you, but like you're hysterical. You need to get it together, or like don't get fresh with me. With the backhand, that's really like domestic abuse kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I'm trying to think of a movie about domestic abuse for an example, but that's honeymooner stuff. Well, that wasn't like specifically about beating her. I think that's what he meant. Anyway, so would you say that with your coworkers, if you guys had to like, okay, guys, you guys are all going to split into teams of 3. Would be you, Chris, and the Mormon guy? Is he like
Definitely.
He's the closest.
No question.
Do you ever go to lunch with him or anything?
No. He drove me home once. It was really nice. He lives kind of by me. He
Hey,
dropped me
Chris,
off at the library.
You guys should all hang out sometime outside of work. You're probably not going to do that.
I don't know what we would do.
Okay,
It's actually funny. He used to be really into metal when he was young. I mean, he's only like 23. So he knows a bunch of he knows like a kind of a weird amount about metal for someone who's very religious. And he'll always sort of talk about it like it's in his very distant past, like when he used to go see metal bands play in these things. So I'm really curious. I don't know. I haven't really asked him too many questions because I don't want to say, I don't want to offend him by like, so why'd you get out of metal and get into being Mormon? Like what?
What if it was the guys who went door to door? What if that's what got him?
That's true. It could be. I mean, he did that.
Oh, he did do it?
Yeah, he was in Canada, I think.
Wow. Gosh, this must be so hard. Because I've had like door-to-door jobs, like canvassing, political campaigns and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's just like, hey, you want to vote for this person? No, that's all right. This is like, you got to go and be like, hey, you want to like change your religion? Must be such a tough sell.
And also it's selling, I mean, I'd imagine for most people doing it, it's selling something, it's trying to, I mean, I guess you're probably not even thinking of it in the terms of buying and selling it, how we're talking about it, but it's like something you must really, really care about and mean something, to like risk essentially like humiliating yourself or being humiliated by someone who could say something as simple as like, I don't believe what you believe, I think it's silly.
Or people are kind of hostile to Mormons sometimes.
Yeah.
This is a cult, I'm not into polygamy. They could say some like really mean things. Mormons are mostly nice people. Any Mormon person I've ever met has been like overly nice, actually.
Yeah.
But they have like this they have this social stigma still.
I find that really, really puzzling sometimes because you'll hear like I've heard say like a Christian like person's like make fun of Mormonism, talking about how like, it was dictated out of a hat, and there's like something with it.
Some stones.
Yeah, and I think there's something with a talking salamander, like there's some things like that. But then like if you look at the Bible, there's like all sorts of stuff
Burning
like that.
bush, yeah.
Where you have to, take like this huge leap into like, like fantasy basically to like let yourself believe this thing could really happen in physical space. I don't know. it's just funny when people aren't able to like actualize their beliefs and like put them in the context of with others. I don't know. I find that really weird and troublesome. Anyway.
Maybe Mormonism is especially troublesome though because it's like it's happened so recently. That's why people have like a visceral, and they've gained a lot of ground. I mean, they've got like compared to other religions that are that new. I mean, Church of Scientology's got like a couple buildings in Hollywood. Mormons, they've got like Utah,
got all
parts of
around the world,
Nevada,
too.
yeah. They're like the whole state, you know. So
Yeah.
I grew up by a Mormon temple though in West LA, and it was like I always thought it was cool. The architecture, they have Moroni on the top, holding the horn.
You've seen the one in
San Diego.
San Diego?
Yeah.
That one's so cool how you're just driving down the freeway and then you just kind of go around this curve on a hill and then all of a sudden this big white pointy spires just start sticking up over.
When I was a really young kid, I thought that buildings on the way to San Diego, that Mormon temple, was where the Never-Ending Story took place. You know, they like the cloud world.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's where that dog thing lives that flies.
And that's the one that like kind of falls apart when he's
Yeah, remember that?
Wow, what a great movie. I used to love that movie.
I feel like it used to be on TV a lot.
I think I had a copy on a VHS tape that I would watch. I think I would specifically watch it like days I was homesick.
Do you remember the scene where the horse gets stuck in the quicksand?
Oh my God, it was
Scary.
so traumatizing.
Yeah, it was.
Or
I would get upset. I'd get like anxious when I'd watch it.
oh my gosh, because I knew it was going to happen, but and what was it that scared me so much? You know, there's like, is it like a guy in a hot air balloon with like a, they're like they have to walk through like a valley and there's two giant
what
guards
is
on
that?
either side.
Yes.
That part always really scared me too.
Really scary movie.
Yeah,
What is up with that movie?
I don't know.
I don't know anything about it nowadays. There's like the Never-Ending Story 2.
I don't know.
Is it Jim Henson?
I don't-
Is it like The Labyrinth?
I don't know. I feel like I should know more because it's like, but I actually haven't watched it in so long. Like, it's not a movie I've returned to as an adult or anything, which maybe I should.
My impression of it was that it's bad. I haven't seen it since I was a kid either. My memory of it, all things considered, of like, yeah, I liked it when I was like 4 or whatever, but my memory of it, my impression of it is that it's not a good movie.
Maybe that's.
I don't like fantasy though, at all.
Well, you mean you didn't like it when you were a kid?
No, when I was a kid, I did like it, but I was a kid.
But you're okay.
But now, like as an adult who's seen and done a lot of things, I actually don't like I really don't like it. I think it's annoying. Why do you like fantasy? It's okay if it's okay if anybody's into it.
But have you seen? There's one with very young Tom Cruise. I think Ridley Scott directed it, and they built this massive like studio soundstage jungle, and it's just like, and there's like a real environment with like jungle animals in it, and
Well, if it's a failure, then I like it. Then that elevates it.
I hate that I brought it up because I can't think of the name. So,
Well, if any of you out there have IMDb, please check that out, and you can email me adampapagan@gmail.com. Let us know the name of that movie. But how are we doing on time here? Oh, well, we're wrapping up. This was a lot of fun tonight, Greg. Anything you want to plug? You're in a couple bands. We can mention that. You're in High Functioning Flesh. You're in Den, and you're in Lock. Anything else?
no, just those 3.
Any older bands people should check out? Used to be in?
Nah, I mean,
Anything in the back catalog that you want to?
no, that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, I've got some of those records sitting around in my bedroom, but I don't need to.
If anybody wants to borrow them, they're available.
Ask me.
Yeah.
High Functioning Flesh has our second LP coming out in April. I think April 21st is supposed to be the date.
That was real close.
Yeah.
It's just after Lent.
Yeah. Oh, you know, maybe I can.
Give up not releasing a record for Lent.
There
and
we
then
go.
Give up releasing records for Lent, and then after Lent, you can
And
be
then after,
like,
yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
I think I can deal. That
Yeah.
sounds. Yeah.
okay, yeah. So if anybody asks, but that's it for us tonight, everyone. So until next time, remember, there's a place you can go, and it's your mind. We'll see you next week.